History and background of low-carb dieting by justmymom.com. The terminology low-carb wasn't really coined until around 1992 when the USDA announced America's model food pyramid included 6 to 11 servings daily of grains and starches. However, low-carb dieting dates back more than 100 years before the trendy Atkins diet to 1864 with a pamphlet titled Letter on Corpulence written by William Banting, as close to the first commercial low-carb diet as you could get. Banting had suffered a series of debilitating health problems due mainly to being overweight or corpulent. He searched in vain for cures to his weight problem, which many doctors at that time believed to be a necessary side effect of old age. He also tried eating less, but he continued to gain weight and have various health problems. He could not understand how the small amounts of food he was eating led to his weight problem. Few men have led a more active life, bodily or mentally, from a constitutional anxiety for regularity, precision, and order, during 50 years business career from which I had retired, so that my corpulence and subsequent obesity were not through neglect of necessary bodily activity, nor from excessive eating, drinking, or self-indulgence of any kind, except that I partook of the simple aliments of bread, milk, butter, beer, sugar, and potatoes more freely than my age required. Many contemporary Americans on the go may recognize Banting's previous unhealthy daily diet. My former dietary table was bread and milk for breakfast, or a pint of tea with plenty of milk, sugar, and buttered toast, meat, beer, much bread, of which I was always very fond, and pastry for dinner, the meal of tea similar to that of breakfast, and generally a fruit tart or bread and milk for supper. I had little comfort and far less sound sleep. Just substitute a Pop-Tart, donut or muffin with coffee and plenty of cream and sugar for breakfast, a fast food burger and fries with a super-sized soft drink for lunch and a frozen pot pie or pizza for dinner followed by dessert, and you can see how Banting's diet was so much like the typical fast-paced modern-day Americans. When his physician placed these items on a forbidden foods list, Banting lost 50 pounds and 13 inches in 1 year. He kept it off, living a long and much healthier life. His new diet plan consisted of a number of meat dishes, and he listed it as follows. For breakfast, at 9 a.m., I take 5 to 6 ounces of either beef mutton, kidneys, broiled fish, bacon, or cold meat of any kind except pork or veal, a large cup of tea or coffee without milk or sugar, a little biscuit, or 1 ounce of dry toast, making together 6 ounces solid, 9 liquid. For dinner, at 2 p.m., 5 or 6 ounces of any fish except salmon, herrings, or eels, any meat except pork or veal, any vegetable except potato, parsnip, beetroot, turnip, or carrot, 1 ounce of dry toast, fruit out of a pudding not sweetened, any kind of poultry or game, and 2 or 3 glasses of good claret, sherry, or Madeira champagne, port, and beer forbidden, making together 10 to 12 ounces solid, and 10 liquid. For tea, at 6 p.m., 2 or 3 ounces of cooked fruit, a rusk or 2, and a cup of tea without milk or sugar, making 2 to 4 ounces solid, 9 liquid. For supper, at 9 p.m. 3 or 4 ounces of meat or fish, similar to dinner, with a glass or 2 of claret or sherry and water, making 4 ounces solid and 7 liquid. For nightcap, if required, a tumbler of grog, gin, whiskey, or brandy, without sugar, or a glass or 2 of claret or sherry. So great were the changes in his appearance and health that his friends and acquaintances began to notice and just like today wanted to know what diet he was on. Most important of all, Banting could feel and see a difference himself. I am told by all who know me that my personal appearance greatly improved, and that I seem to bear the stamp of good health. This may be a matter of opinion or friendly remark, but I can honestly assert that I feel restored in health, bodily and mentally, appear to have more muscular power and vigor, eat and drink with a good appetite, and sleep well. All symptoms of acidity, indigestion, and heartburn, with which I was frequently tormented, have vanished. I have left off using boot hooks, and other such aids, which were indispensable, but being now able to stoop with ease and freedom, are unnecessary. I have lost the feeling of occasional faintness, and what I think a remarkable blessing and comfort is, that I have been able safely to leave off knee bandages, which I had worn necessarily for many years, and given up the umbilical truss. His How to Dieting book became very popular and was translated into multiple languages. However, over time it was abandoned. Banting noted in Letter on Corpulence that a common health paradox of our time did not exist in his. This was the paradox of obesity, widely believed to be a problem of excess, among the poor. The poor of the 19th century could not afford the refined sugary foods that cause weight gain. But poor people of the 21st century sure can today. In a recent Associated Press article titled, "Health Paradox, Obesity Attacks Poor," the reporter noted that many poor families are stretching their food dollars by purchasing unhealthy processed and refined foods. Of one family, Barbosa wrote, "During winter, jobs are scarce, so Caballero feeds her husband and 3 children the cheapest food she can get, potatoes, bread, tortillas. As processed foods rich in sugar and fat have become cheaper than fruits and vegetables, the poor in particular are paying a high price, with obesity rates shooting up, followed by diabetes." Unfortunately for the Caballero family, these cheap staples are bad for their health. Fresh meat, low-starch fruits and vegetables may be more expensive and have a shorter shelf life, but they are definitely worth the price in saved medical expenses and better health. Throughout the years, as calories became known, variations of counting them were included in dietary solutions. And a variety of other issues were explored, like how many of which foods should be eaten and how frequently. While Banting's diet eventually fell out of favor, low-carb diets did begin appearing again in the 20th century. The most famous of these are the Atkins and Scarsdale diets that came to popularity in the 1970s. While Scarsdale has a set 14-day meal plan that must be followed and greatly restricts calories, the Atkins diet allowed for unlimited calorie consumption as long as those calories were from protein, fat and vegetables, and carbs intake was kept low. Atkins and Scarsdale fell out of favor in the 1980s as the U.S. Department of Agriculture encouraged the consumption of grains and grain products with the USDA food pyramid. It was only in the 1990s that we began to see a return to low-carb dieting that seems to be more than a fad. It's a lifestyle. As more and more people realize the weight loss and other health benefits that are available to people who eat low-carb, the number of diets and stores that sell specialty low-carb products continue to rise. In a nutshell, most low-carb diets carry the same basic premise, that too much of simple, refined carbohydrates leads to overproduction of insulin, which leads to the storage of too much fat in the body. This fat storage is especially prominent around the middle. While there are degrees of difference among the many diets, they all agree on the negative effects that excess insulin production have on our systems. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe my YouTube channel, Just My Mom. www.justmymom.com